Today on the Tim Marner podcast show, I've got Drew and Scott from Solid Ground Outdoors, the motherfuckers that I've met, what was it, 2 months ago? And I was just fucking fell in love with you both as soon as I met you. I just honestly think you're sick. I've been following your Instagram. I like everything that you're both about. Scott, give me a bit of a background of where you've come from. And
Sure, mate, yeah. So I finished university 2010. And I was looking to get into the military. Graduating in 2010, it was probably the worst time because there was the recession. Likewise, the same for the military as well. I was looking to fly, so they just cancelled loads of orders for the military. So I spent about 18 months with the RAF, was sponsored through kind of university, looking to become a pilot. And at the end of that, they basically says, like, we've cancelled all these orders, we can't give you a job. So I was like, okay, what do I do? So came out, didn't want to be kind of stuck behind like a desk, just because I think I've got a bit of ADHD, mate. I just like being out and amongst it. So I looked around for my options, and at that point, the emergency services, they were like the only guys taking people on. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'll do that for a couple of years. 10 years later, I'm still there, mate. But moving through that, like, one of my biggest passions was the outdoors. Started in the outdoors really young, like kind of 13, something like that. And then travelled everywhere, like out to the Alps, South Africa, like just expeditions that like the whole way through, kind of my late teens, kind of early 20s. And from that as well, like just accrued loads of outdoor qualifications, which I was lucky enough to kind of like foster within the Royal Air Force as well. So I continued that, and yeah, bits and pieces kind of happened in the emergency services. Obviously, it's a really stressful job. So like one of my big kind of outlets was the outdoors. Living in Scotland, it's obviously right on your doorstep. So I would use that to escape like shift work. And then probably about 18 months ago, I came at a kind of crossroads in my career where I just thought, like, I'm getting to that 10-year mark and I'm not really fulfilling everything I want to do. Like, I was lucky enough at the start of my career to do loads and loads of cool stuff, but I got to that point where I was just like, I'm a wee bit kind of sick of this. I need to find something that I'm really passionate about, and that was obviously the outdoors. So started an outdoor company following an accident that me and one of my mates were in up in the Highlands. So that was like two guys with like 20 years plus experience. My mate that I was out with nearly died. So like even us as really experienced blokes, we were like, right, okay, well, how do we set up a company that could like teach safety, like teach people to like look after themselves, so that if they find themselves like in the shit, they can get themselves out. So that was the first business. That gets set up, done really well. That one's called Pathfinder Outdoors. From that, we kind of taught navigation lessons, like emergency procedures, so that if you're ever caught out, this is how you would look after yourself until kind of help arrives.
what type of people are you teaching?
That was just like members of the public, to be honest. But we had like a range. We had people that were like total beginners to the outdoors, and then people all the way through to like really, really experienced guys. And we had people coming on the courses as well that had been involved in accidents, like had been airlifted off the side of hills, like crazy stuff. And like people didn't know how to navigate, didn't know how to use a map and compass, and then by the end of that course, it would just be a day's course, then they would go away and they'd be confident, being able to like map read and you know, seek the help from like emergency services.
The problem is at the minute, everybody relies on the phone, don't they?
That's
when they're out
yeah.
and about, and it's just like fucking, it
100%.
just doesn't work.
Yeah, that's it. So,
Does it?
Yeah. So that was the big thing, mate. And like, don't get us wrong, like in that course, you know, you can rely on technology as well. But there comes a point, like in our accident, the one that we were involved in, the phones were down, like there was no signal, so it was up to us and our like experience to just like medevac ourselves out, you know.
Yeah.
So we taught that. That was with two ex-military blokes, two ex-paras. So yeah, done really well teaching members of the public. And the two lads, one of them was going off on operations, so he couldn't dedicate as much time, and then the other guy who was in the accident with us, he got into one of the mountain rescue services up in Scotland, so his time, you know, he just couldn't commit enough time to the business. So it was just kind of me, myself and I, and the demand was too much. So then I moved on to another mountaineering company, helped start that up, and was really successful, kind of building on what I'd taught within Pathfinder Outdoor. But this time it was kind of working with more commercial-based clients. So still teaching like members of the public, we're teaching winter skills courses. So again, just teaching people how to look after themselves in the hills. And then from that we started building relationships with Osprey Europe. So we took a number of their guys out down for a weekend in Wales, and it was awesome. Done like Crib Goch.
So they're obviously doing a video shoot, photo shoot, and then
yeah, mate. So that one,
you're doing risk assessment. You're kind of making sure. That
yeah. So at that point, our whole remit within that mountaineering company was just to instruct the guys. So we were going up doing Crib Goch, lead on climbing for them the next day as well. But then off the back of that, they introduced some like new product lines, and that's obviously when I met Drew. So
that's the point you two met.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
kind of knew each other.
We knew each other. We'd met before, but in terms of like a professional relationship, that's kind of when it was formed. Ideally because we had this kind of same vision going forward of what would be not just cool to do but fulfilling. So. Yeah. I don't know, we kind of bounced off each other in one of those moments.
So what's your background then, Drew? I know we've touched on it before when I talked to you.
Yeah, so brief rundown. You probably need subtitles for this, but
I'll be here if they put some subtitles on that.
It's really worse.
It's like started a bad joke in it.
I know. So yeah, quit school at 17, joined the army. Pretty distracted kid in school, so. The army was my plan A and my only plan, really. I
think a lot of the best people I meet have got ADHD. All of them have got that like.
It's just
I don't even think I had ADHD. I just had no interest. I don't know. Maybe I did. Undiagnosed anyway, but probably all sorts. But yeah, and so I joined the army. I broke my hand, so I had to wait till I was 18 to join. So yeah, anyway, I loved it. Really good career. Served all over the place, the jungles and Iraq and stuff like that. Towards maybe the 6-year point, I was looking, getting out, and it was either going to private security or else, I was going back into the circuit. I was going to go out overseas again. That just didn't seem a bit fulfilling, so I was a bit bored, a bit fed with the whole thing. So then I looked into, becoming a professional safety guy and did all my courses, already paid for them. Whenever I was leaving, part of my settlement package, which is pretty amazing. Like a lot of guys don't use it, don't know why, because I paid for everything. So yeah, after that went into health and safety in the timber industry, which I'm working now. It's a really high hazard industry, tons of stuff going on. And obviously with my passion with solid ground, which I've been doing for maybe 2 or 3 years previously, selling clothes, I thought, I'd love to kind of bring the two in together. I just didn't know how to do it until me and Scott kind of spoke about it.
So Solid Ground was already established with you as a sort of like clothing company.
Yeah.
Then you'd both met within Osprey, and you just kind of. What was that first initial meeting like?
So basically,
probably just didn't the piss out each other.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's probably all sorts like. But I thought you wouldn't even want to hear it word for word, to be honest.
In fact, I think the first time that we met was there's a really famous hotel in Glencoe called the King's House Hotel, and I think it was like we were keeping contact like on Instagram as everyone does, and then we just got pissed one night. Like I think we were doing a course, weren't we? So yeah. I was running a course with that previous mountaineering company. And I just met Drew. He's like, "How you doing?" I'm Drew, and then we were just sitting getting pissed all night and on the whiskey and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And,
I remember
we got on that house fire pretty much from the start.
Yeah, it was one of the worst hangovers I've had for sure. But
so did Osprey hire you both sort of like individually to come and do this health and safety risk assessment?
So that's my career now anyway. I've got the qualifications that I got quite a lot of experience in that. And obviously coming from my background within the military, you just got a keen eye for it really. Like you can kind of see this kind of stuff. I just think it's really easy to follow procedure. And so when you go into like health and safety, it's just it fits really well with ex-military guys, and there's a lot of ex-military guys in the industry. So yeah, like with the clothing side of things that I started in 2018, I was doing it while I was in the military, and it was so hard trying to I was relying on my brother a lot for. I'm so thankful for him to be there to help me out with the orders, because they were getting shipped from Northern Ireland where my family home was, right. And I was deployed in the jungle and stuff like that. So it was just like it was so hard trying to manage. So
Solid Outdoors have been going for 4 years around that, something like that.
Yeah, right. And then it got to the point where it was never not successful. It was always successful from the start, but it gets so busy that like it takes over your life. You know, that's a point that I find really hard, where you were maybe getting 25, 30 orders a night with clothes, and that's a lot of work, and you've just worked above that. And yeah, it's good, and I love seeing it grow, but there's always a point where I wanted more. And it's not that like I wanted more money, I just felt like the business could provide more. So I started going into more technical kind of stuff, and I'm happy where we're at. I don't want to go push too far into it. I was more kind of like testing the water with some of the base layers and stuff. I'll let the big brands have their say. They can do their own thing. But like for me, I felt, you know what, this makes sense. You know, me and Scotty both have the same kind of interest in outdoors, as I say, and we've both seen, like we're kind of chatting about it previously, like it's not a gap in the market. It really isn't. It's just a need in the market, and people don't realize they need it. So there is other companies doing this, maybe on a bigger scale or smaller scale, but regardless, everyone needs this. Everyone needs health and safety, and it's not just to remain legal. It's, you know, it's a moral obligation to protect your employees. Like,
so for people out there, just to sort of like sum it down, what if someone's going to say, what is Solid Ground Outdoors? What would you both say it was? Because obviously it's more than just clothing. That's just, you know, what people sort of rep. How would you describe it to somebody else?
So it's theoretically it's a management service. So we providers of high-end media safety solutions. That's pretty much what it is in a nutshell. However, we've got merchandising behind it now, which has a kind of cutting edge. And yeah, there is no other businesses like this really. And it's just because of the way it's been formed and shaped. But that doesn't mean it won't do well. You know what I mean? That's it is different. You know, I understand there's not many safety companies out there that have this kind of, you know, cool clothing edge to it, but why can't there be kind of thing? And especially with the clients you're working with, you know what I mean? We're working with Osprey, like that's a cool brand. You know, we're working with, you know, there's some more companies in the pipeline here we've got chats with, and it's pretty cool. They're pretty cool stuff. So, you know, why couldn't you do it? And that's how it works, really.
I'd say as well, Tim, I think we kind of covered this when we met you in the lakes, like, if you can imagine just like a kind of one-stop shop for your suits, if that makes sense. So we obviously work in really close partnership with a load of camera crews, pretty much at the top of their game. And then what we do is we come in and we put in all the safety elements of that shoot in a kind of one-stop package. So whether that be mountainside rigging, so we can get the camera crews in position safely. We've got paramedics that we work with. We get Drew, obviously health and safety specialist. So we'll look at the whole shoot, and then we'll say, okay, what risks have we got here with this shoot, and how can we mitigate those risks so that it doesn't put like the brand at risk. You know, it doesn't compromise any of us in terms of like our own accreditation and our own insurances, and as well as like the camera crews, because what they don't want, like, it sounds terrible, but they don't want someone dying on one of these shoots, because ultimately the shit has then hit the fan, and it then lies with, well, who's picking up the...
You know what I mean? I understand, because I'm in the sort of game, you know, I do touch it, and there's times when I've been hung out of an helicopter, not harnessed in or anything. That's it, mate. And I'm thinking to myself, and then when I met you two, I'm like, why haven't I even really thought about this? Like, because I think it's just my nature, just like...
See, I'm like another...
But it's nuts, it's stupid.
Yeah, another thing as well, Tim, is like, so we work with a cameraman just now, Aslan Steelwright. He's very, very capable individual. He's like an ex-UK stuntman, has worked like on big productions and then turned cameraman. He is really well qualified in terms of like rock climbing and like kind of rope access, right? But what we're here to do is like take away that like cognitive overload. So like if he's a cameraman, right, and that is his trade, then all he's thinking about is getting the shots, getting the angles, you know, and thinking, right, how can I make this such a cool shot for the brand that I'm working for, right? We come in and we take away that cognitive overload that then he doesn't need to then think about, okay, how do I rig this to make it safe? How do I not kill myself? How do I not do this? How do I not do that?
That's the problem. People think I can do this.
That's it. And
I can do it myself, but like after an 8-hour shoot. And then, you know, complacent, you just kind of just one little mistake can just cost you, can't it?
And you need to think as well, is that like these shoots aren't going to happen, you know, on the side of a road. They're going to happen in remote areas. So you've got all the lugging to get there. You know, we don't mind doing that kind of stuff. That's part of the job, really. You know, I'm used to carrying stuff in the army anyway, but it's like it's for a different reason now. And when you're there, like, you really need to be switched on, because, you know, people die all the time. You know, look at the Scottish Mountain rescue statistics from last year. There's quite a lot, and experienced guys as well, not just, you know, novices. So these things happen. And yeah, like you're going there with an extra, set of eyes in the ground, but the fact that you've all went through an initial risk assessment and stuff first, you've actually went through the control measures and make sure we haven't missed everything out. Like that's why it's all really important. Yeah. But at the same time, I also see it as enablers, because we're actually enabling, like, for example, Osprey or whoever to do these shits. Like we're enabling them to say, look, you can do these shits now. You can do it safely. You're massively less than the risk of getting prosecuted by the HSE if something did happen. What you think, right? That's bad for everything. That's bad for your image, and in terms of potential prosecution and fine. Like,
they can do it themselves, and they get some kid who's like, oh yeah, I can get off into the mountain. Some kid off into, oh, do you fancy doing this because it sounds?
Yeah,
they just like fucking
one
mistake.
Yeah, 100%. And the thing is, Tim, like, and this isn't probably speaking out of turn, like Drew agrees with me here, like, see, even the big players like in the industry, like they have no overview of this, like, and it's only because of like our backgrounds having been involved in like fatal accident inquiries and seen that all the way to the end until it reaches court. Then these people all of a sudden are like, fuck, like if I just put in like guys that knew what they were doing, could build in the mitigation so that there was less liability if something went wrong. Accidents are going to happen, but at least if you've then documented all the mitigations, and it leaves you less liable.
And the best way to say it as well is that I learned this a few weeks ago. Like the saying is, if you think safety is expensive, wait till you have an accident. Because
it's good to die.
You're fucked. Like you're fucked if you don't have. If someone dies, like you're fucked. You think of it like the compensation. Then you've got any other claims as well in civil courts. Then you've got the prosecution fines, your loss of business. You've got a prohibition notice put on your business as well. Like you could have shitloads of sanctions against you, like, and all for sake of whatever a day rate is for safety cover. That's it.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, I've just until I met you two, I've done literally fucking so many shoes that I needed you both for. Yeah. But I was always under the thing that I can do this myself.
Yeah.
But when it's just I'm talking to you, I'm just like, what happened if somebody did die?
100%, mate.
But as well, like not even safety is really expensive. Like even like the documentation side of things, like that. Like I offer those services out as well through Solid Ground, just to do your generic risk assessments and stuff like that. But that's not like really expensive. Like these kind of things, but they're really key. Not just for like I'll say, oh yeah, I've done a risk assessment. That's what it is. It's not just about documentation. It's about going through it so you can see what you need and what you don't need. And it's. People seem to think that as, oh, it's so expensive, it's all this, we don't need it and stuff like that. And you're like, it's 2022. Like, you do need it. Everyone needs it. Every single business needs it. If you have more than 5 employees, like it's just, it's crazy. So
yeah, but you're not the only one, Tim. Like saying,
But how do we educate people? That was one of the reasons of getting involved on. That a lot of people need educating. Because there's a few agencies that follow me, and I'm like, we need to get this to them.
Yeah, this is going to sound terrible, mate, and it's probably just like from our backgrounds, Drew. This will probably resonate with Drew, but it's probably going to take someone having a serious accident until people actually
So it's too late.
100%, mate. Like, and I think a lot of people like put this kind of stuff at the back burner because, like, with you guys, and we see it when we work with the camera crews. And in fairness, our guys are good, but they're thinking about, right, I want this shot to be like fire. Do you know what I mean? I want this to go out, and then like this is going to like put me on the map, and like everything else goes to the back, right? And they're just thinking about like, I'm going to make
my career, that.
But that's it, right? And like it's just like, just fuck that off, and we'll worry about that.
Yeah.
But really, like this kind of stuff should be at the forefront because if anything goes wrong, like you just touched on, mate, your career's over, and there's potential you're getting locked up for it as well. Depending on how like culpable you are in it,
Well, that's what's happening now. There's like not too far from where I live now, near Leeds. There was a guy, the director went to jail for 2 guys down on his farm. And you're thinking like, how unsafe's a farm? Like fucking hell, they're pretty unsafe, And the 2 guys died, went in to look after or clean something up, and overcome by fumes, and he died, and he went to jail. So it's like, people are getting punished now. Directors are for not showing it. So, again, it's a crap way to learn, but it's the only way a lot of people are going to learn, fortunately.
Yeah.
I think for us, though, like, the good thing about us, what we've got, there's obviously a certain kind of style to Solid Ground, where we can, make it look.
Yeah, there's a lot of substance with you both, and you know what I mean. It's not, it's not been given to you. This is it. You've both earned the right to be doing what you're doing.
100%, mate. Yeah. I was actually thinking about this on the way down. So like, it's like the experiences that we've built up, like from our previous careers as well, and then into this career, this career that we're in just now. And there's a really, really good podcast, mate. Like, I love podcasts, so you should look at it. It's called The Greatest Mind. So it's by a guy called Gaz Bamford. I hope I'm not slaughtering that and I'm on this podcast, but basically he's the I think he's a Sergeant Major of a Special Boat Service. And on his podcast, he basically talks about experiences times 1,000. So us having all these experiences throughout our career, like, have let us go on to do what we do, because we've not just like passed the course, like we've been doing it for the last like 10 years plus. You know, either in the army or in the emergency services, where we've looked at situations and says, right, what's our risks here, and how can we mitigate them? And then it's only now that we've turned this into a business that's had all that, you know, experience behind it. Would you agree with that, mate?
Yeah, it's even the small stuff as well. Doesn't that necessarily have to be big stuff? Like, even personality issues and stuff like that. Like, you're going to work with arseholes. Like, I've worked with a lot of arseholes. A lot of good guys too. Not calling everyone I work with an asshole. Just saying that. But, yeah, I mean, even... And it's like, trying to mitigate that into safety, you might think, like, well, how does that relate? But if you're working with someone on a shoot who's egotistic and he's trying to control it, even though you're hired in as a safety controller, there's things I got there. Like, I know how to handle people like that. I know how to put it and stuff in that way. And coming from the military, you have a lot of guys from different backgrounds and stuff as well. So you're really like, you can really manage anyone.
Yeah.
And when you're on safety, like my kind of role would be like a safety controller on scene as well, like ensuring things are kind of run almost like a project manager as such on scene. And it's like, there's a lot of working parts. And if you come from an environment like the military and stuff like that, I feel like you really have a massive, you know, cutting edge to that. So yeah, it's mega.
Because that's one thing I noticed we used Scott when we're all having a little bit of a dick about, like, but when you switched it on, you switched it on.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, yeah, it's all right, all this. On the shoot, it's fluffiness, there's egos going on. But then when it was like, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's, you need somebody like that.
100%, mate. Like, because we love, like, as you've seen, obviously, like, this like that. Like, we just love banter. We love like chatting shit and all that kind of stuff. Like we do, and like, you know, probably 8% of our time on shoots, like, we're just at the piss out of each other. But then there is that 20% where, like, right, okay, I need to fucking switch on here, because if I don't, you know, I've got a cameraman on the other end of this line, or like, as you've seen with the water safety stuff, down in the lakes, it needs that switch sometimes, or else, one, I mean, the safety is a big thing, but then two, like, nothing gets done as well, you know, if you're just dicking around and all that kind of stuff. If you're just like, right, okay, let's just fucking switch on here. And yeah, I think we probably both do that well. But likewise, like, because of the background of the company as well, like, a lot of the lads, in fact, all the lads that we're working with now are all ex-military or emergency services. So they've got that in them as well. And that's not to say that we don't work with, like, civvies, we still do. But I think they've got that appreciation as well, that, like, when it's time to switch on, everyone just switches on, you know.
There's that mutual respect.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I think there's a trust as well, because, you know, I rely on the guys quite a lot for obviously the content side of things and creating, like, the reels and for Instagram and just other things. And, like, I'll kind of ask what I need done, and I'll know it'll get done. And they'll be done really well. Obviously, you know, I paid them for it and stuff like that, but, like, it's mega. Yeah. And if
the content you produce is really cool. I love it.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
That credit goes to the guys, to be fair. It massively does. And there's like a guy, Jake. I am War Dogs, his Instagram name.
Yeah, shout out to Jake.
I know Jake.
We get some plugs in here. Actually.
I love them. That both of them, I just love them both. But I don't know what it is. Is it being in the military? There's just no egos attached to it.
No.
You know, everybody's out for each other.
Yeah.
You know, it's just when you obviously you don't get that when you go to shit. You've got a lot of egos. And, you know, dickheads.
I wouldn't work with something like that, to be honest. If you get something like that, for me, it's a big red flag. But the thing is, I don't want to, like, it's not that we tell him what to do either, but I've just said to Jake, like, this kind of shots I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And, you know, Jake puts a new spin on it, and boom, he nailed it. I was like, oh shit, you know, he got some really, you know, and this is working in the past and stuff as well. So yeah, he's all over it. And then same with Joe. I've only ever met him, you know,
shout out to Joe, a few
times.
GP,
but yeah, he's mega, like, you know, smashing all the reels and stuff like that for us as well. He's doing so. Yeah, I mean, the guys, to be honest, you know, they were worth their weight in gold. They really are. And Adam as well, and he does a lot of videos, and he made that, you know, the big promo video we done there recently. Like, whenever he gets a chance, his life's a bit chaotic right now with all his work coming out his ears.
Yeah, he's doing really well. Like, he's just been signed to, like, do some jobs. Well, I think he's actually on a retainer now to do work in Ibiza next year. So, like, these lads that we're working with, like, you know, you've got Aslan, who I would say is at the top of his game and works with like Land Rover, you know, Osprey. Shout out to him. He's probably gave us like, he took a massive chance on us and kind of got us, you know, working with likes of Osprey, and we're heading out to France next month as well for a project with him. Amazing, but likewise, like the lads like Loza, Jake and Joe, like they're coming up, but they're going to be really good if they're already there, you know, like, and even the content that they're producing is absolutely brilliant.
It's good because it's like, I can see that they're telling the brand story.
Yeah.
And that's really important to me. That obviously, like meeting you, then I follow you on Instagram, and it's the same people that I've still met. It still feels the same, not looks the same, feels the same. And it's really good.
I think they all understand the concept, most and foremost. I could go to some random photographer now, pay them less than what I would have paid those guys, whatever, and it wouldn't get nowhere near as good because they just don't understand it. And then plus these guys they all know their ropes as well. Then they actually, you know, they're not scaredy guys. You know what? We tag them off cliffs, and they were like looking over it, and they were like complete trust in us, you know, as well. And it's mega. You're not gonna get that anywhere else. So
it's class.
I think that's a big point as well. Like, we've all kind of got our specialisms. You know, we all know like a bit about. So we'll maybe, because we work with the camera crews, we'll know what they're after. But likewise, they know what we're after, and they'll just let you get on with it. So, like for example, you know, I'd say I'm the kind of ropes expert, so I'll do all the rigging and all that kind of stuff. But they'll just let me get on with it. They'll not be like, "Oh no, a better way." They're just like, "That's Scotty's ball. Just let him do it." And we're actually filming down in Hodge Close. Was that last month we were down there for the safety? Yeah, so down there last month. And Loza, so Adam's like 7 or 8 year old son come down with us. And he's like, "I want to go over this, I want to go over this." It's like 8 meters to the bottom. And Adam's like, I says, "Listen, Adam, like, it's your son. You're probably better, like, you know, belaying him. Like, this is solid. You know, you could hang a Land Rover off this, but just so you've got control of the rope." And he's like, "Nah, mate." He's like, "I don't trust myself." He's like, "Just you crack on and do it." And that just shows you like the trust. So like he trusts me enough that his son like is on the end of that line. You know what I mean?
That's special, that, isn't it?
Yeah. And that was it. Like, even then, you're like, you know, you don't want to be a bit kind of fluffy about it, but you've got a bit of lump in your throat because you're like, this bloke like trusts me enough to put his son off the end of this cliff.
So how are people finding you both then? How are they actually? You're not really doing marketing to a degree where you kind of.
It's probably word of mouth.
It's
just
a
going
lot of
on jobs and just
it's networking big time at the
moment.
Because like that's the thing. Well, in terms of the business itself, like the clothing side of things, obviously I've got Google sales and stuff. I do ads in Google. Like I'm basically in charge of all that there, and I mean it's a nightmare. Obviously, you know yourself. Like it's obviously use Shopify for the store. And yeah, I mean that's always been something that's ongoing. And then obviously I do some advertisements through the website or through the Instagram and social medias whenever I do products releases. But the actual safety side of things, you're not going to get that. I mean, there's no point putting money into Instagram advertising for that. It'd be so niche. I feel like it's kind of hard. I can use the visuals, make it look cool, and maybe hope that might bring someone in to get a clothing sale, but I just can't guarantee that. So
I met her on LinkedIn and just like really start networking with the marketing director of. I mean, creative agencies is probably a really good one to look into because they're the ones that Land Rover are going to. They're the ones that RAB are going to, these creative agencies.
100%.
And it's like they're the ones that will kind of book you both. You only need to get in front of people, you two, and just talk and just kind of say, and you're just like, "Oh shit, right, okay."
Yeah.
Remember that shoot we did last week? It's like, fuck.
I think that's the thing as well, mate. Like,
it's just awareness. It's just knowledge of this.
Just don't realise.
100%,
it's just
mate,
like, fuck it, I just will not be doing another one without grabbing you both.
And like, likewise, like we've worked with blokes that just have fucking no personality, mate. Like, and probably blowing trumpets here, but like, I think we've got personality and kind of spades full. And like, you know, we could chat shit for hours and just sit in front of someone and like, as well as exactly, but not like browbeating them, like, you know, you need us and blah blah blah. Like, we'll just come in and just have a chat with you over coffee and say, like, you don't get this right, you're fucked. Like, you can work with us or choose to work with us, choose not to work with us, it's fine. But here are the risks that you're leaving yourself open to. And then we'll still have a laugh, we'll still have banter around about it. And I think that's something we probably bring to shoots as well, because like, you know, it's just having that personality, and you've got to go on with people, mate.
16 hours in.
100%.
Cameramans don't know the rig, but
Yeah.
then you've got this nice little spark going on with you two, and
Yeah.
so it just keeps that morale up.
Yeah. Mate, even
People don't know the adversity and what it takes to after 16-hour day to still have that.
It's a graft, mate. It's a graft. But
Yeah.
even like what we are describing here, right, might sound sexy to people, like, rope access and like all these like cool, the Osprey and all that kind of stuff. But like, I was on a shoot there, like for Osprey up in Fort William. We were living in like 2 caravans, right? So there was like, say 10 of us on the shoot, living in caravans, cramped conditions, stuff like that. We're still chatting shit, banter, the weather was terrible. And like, see when the lads are like editing their pictures, like I'm not above, like I'm fucking in making them dinner because I'm just like, okay, I've got fucking an hour here.
That's
the
the shit, that, mate.
Yeah, the
That's
lad,
shit.
yeah, but I'm just like that. Like I'm not above that. Like the lads are fucking busy. They're grafting. Right, okay, I'm going to get the macaroni on, and like that's it. You know what I mean? Like, and then that way it's just one big team effort. And the likes of like working with, you know, the camera guys are probably leading our jobs at the moment. They can say, oh, I didn't need to worry about fucking cooking my dinner, or I didn't need to worry about bringing that extra bit of kit up because the lads were all over it.
Big thing that, innit, the word team.
Oh yeah.
Not many people think of it. They think of like bosses and the chain of command and stuff
Yeah.
like that, but they don't understand what it is to be part of a team and you're all kind of working together.
I
100%.
feel like
the same.
Same good, mate. Yeah.
the only thing like people would get confused at was when, like, in terms of what we would do is like controlling it. Like there's a difference between a controller and a leader. Controller is the boss. The boss is everyone is the boss. Like everyone has their own rules. A controller is just making sure that things are working efficiently. And that's something that's like, you know, you kind of it's pushing that through as well, because like we're not in charge of their shoots. They are. We're just facilitating it, and we're just facilitating it in a safe manner. That's it. That's all we're doing. So
I think the teamwork thing as well, mate, it just goes back to like where we've came from as well. Do you know what I mean? Like I think that's what there's not really individuals in the guys we're working with. We all just kind of come together. And again, I think that's from our careers, you know, from before.
yeah.
You think I would listen to something the other day about like sort of like the youngers at the minute, and these are the ones that are doing the shoots and they're doing the marketing thing, but they're all right when there's no storm and the weather's fine.
Yeah.
But you need people like you two when the storm hits.
Yeah.
Because then they're the ones that crumble.
Yeah.
Aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just need to take the piss out of it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I feel like that embrace the suck, they say.
Yes, mate. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like even
a
like
lot of people don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
They just quit.
I think that's like it's probably going to get quite deep now, mate. But I don't know if that's a generational thing as well, man.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
I don't know if like
yeah.
you know, we talk about these kind of snowflakes and stuff like that, and like it definitely exists, man. Like people like that haven't been met with like any adversity in their life, and like both myself and Drew have. Like, you know, we've been through shit, both in our, you know, personal life and in our careers, and I think it's just having that what would you say, like just standing up to like adversity and you know, having that wherewithal that you can like, right, we're gonna get through this. Like it's that more, what was it saying in the military, like solutions, not problems. So like problem presents itself, just find a solution to go around it. Do you know what I mean?
A lot of it's down to their ego as well, in terms of the generation, or Gen Z, they call it.
Yeah.
I don't even know, I'm not down with the kids now, but it's like, you know, it's not just about the whole offended culture that obviously that's going around as well, that they think, oh, it's the whole entitlement culture as well, and they feel so entitled that's affected their ego that, like, you know, they don't need to do certain things and they don't need to go through certain things, and it's like, it's life. Life doesn't care whether you're offended or not. Life doesn't give a shit. Like, you know, it's gonna hit you in the ass. Like, you know, I've had times where I felt on top of the world and all of a sudden this came crashing down.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, you know, I used to, you know, effing blind all the time. Like, right, you know, this is fucking shit. Like, you know, what's going on? And then I've had my own kind of ways out of it and stuff. But, you know, it's just life. You have to kind of face it with a smile, and you have to face it with a laugh and get over it, because that old saying as well of, you know, why take life so seriously? We're not going to end of it alive. You know, but it's hard when you have this, like, it is hard with the whole Gen Z, to be honest. They're just like, some of the stuff I see now, like on social media, I'm like, holy shit, I mean, what is going on?
Yeah.
It's weird. I'm glad I grew up when I did, to be honest.
And do you see that with some of the folks that you're working with? Like,
They're not all that. I mean, they're like that. They've not got the right people, role models around to inspire them to be like that. You know, and it's like people like you two that, you know, want to see. I'm like, I want the kids to be following you two and just kind of feel the fear and do it anyway. Don't just quit and just, you know,
Yeah.
it's all right going for that. The life shit, but be all right with it. It's shit.
Yeah.
You can have good days and bad days and stuff like that, but these are the ones that are potentially getting the jobs that they need you to in the life.
Yeah.
I'm all right with them. Look, if you want to quit, cool and stuff like that, but make sure you're safe. Make sure you've got Scott and Drew. When things go fucking south,
Yeah.
you can just go, can you sort this for me?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I think that's it, mate. I think just taking that big step back and like just looking like at the whole playing field, mate. I think that's definitely what we bring to the party.
Yeah.
Because as I said, like all these guys that've got all these specialist roles, if you like cameramen and stuff like that, like they're not thinking about, oh fuck, is that rock going to fall, or you know, am I in a safe position here? They're just not, because as we said before, it's that cognitive overload.
Yeah, they want to get that shot. They need
That's
to get a
it,
shot.
mate.
I totally understand that.
That's it.
Totally understand that.
And even from like members of the public, like the amount of deaths that have been caused by like taking selfies. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, oh, cool angle, go woof off the cliff, you know, and that like cameramen are,
it's just mad.
yeah, cameramen are going to be like the exact same, except to a lesser degree. You know, as you said, all they're worried about is getting that. I need to get this cool shot for the brand, and that's what's going to stand. You know, they put me in the map and make
That's
me
what they're
stand
getting
up.
paid for.
Yeah,
That's why I'm here.
Yeah,
And they're putting that first before their actual own safety.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%, mate, 100%. But yeah, I think another thing for our brand as well is like it's that like authenticity as well. I think you kind of touched on that, mate. Like what you see online is actually what we're like as well. And we talked about another brand when we're down the Lake District, like Through Dark. Like they're the exact same. Like you know, they are putting out this really cool brand and really cool content, but they have the backstory of like being like former, you know, special forces operators. So like that is very like authentic to the life that they used to live. So I think that's probably important for us as a brand, like just maintaining, like not trying to be something we're not.
Do you not?
Yeah, that's it. You need to have that kind of personal touch. I didn't want to be the face of Solid Ground for years. No one knew who it was. I was just a secret guy. But yeah, I mean, now it's just
Well, you two are the brand, aren't you? And it is, that's why I wear my cap out and stuff like that, because I know it represents you two.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like if I'm doing a shoot next time and I've got a good 16 hours, you're the two people I want by my side. 16 hours, because I know that you've got my back.
Yeah.
And that's what Solid Ground Outdoors is. You've always got your back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No matter if it's fucking bright outside or the storm hits.
Yeah.
And you're gonna do it with a bit of crack as well.
That's what it's all about. That's always good, after 10 hours in, fucking the shit hits the fan, and then you've got you two doing that, and your morale just kind of just gives you that little boost. We'll be alright. It'll be alright.
And I think a lot of people don't realise that, like, it's quite a kind of poignant point there about, like, you know, the 16 hours, 18 hour days. Like, before I came into this kind of industry, like, I didn't realise the days were going to be that long. You know, I was just like, I've just gone there and set up some rigging, if I can get the shot and then out. Nah, like, they're going to take, you know, 100 plus shots and, like, you know, the same, like, different angles, and, you know, you're going to be there all day. And then if you've got like big heavy packs on, you're carrying an extra kit for the camera crews. And then you need to obviously stay switched on through all of that as well. You know, there will be periods of downtime where you're saying you're having a bit of crack, and maybe the talent's like readjusting, you know, whatever products or, you know, hair and makeup, whatever it may be.
Your makeup,
yeah, makeup from me, mate, and then we need to switch on again. Do you know what I mean? So we're all over that kind of safety game.
So if somebody wants to hire you both, where can they find you? Right.
solidgroundoutdoors.com, or else go on to Instagram and it's at SGO UK.
That sounds. So, people want to buy your clobber as well, they can go
to
both
all the same website. Basically, there's just like an info at solidgroundoutdoors.com is, you know, if you want to chat us about anything, we both have access to that email. And then obviously we have an orders email, and we've got our own personal emails as well. So but yeah, bounce on that, or else if you want to chat us on LinkedIn, you know, you can find us Drew at SGO and LinkedIn as well, or just search a business name and one of the employees. So yeah, it's I'm
excited for you both. I'm just excited for the brand. I'm excited for the business. I just know that people are just going to hire you. You just know it.
That, mate.
Well, you get it.
But it is about you too. Do you know what I mean? As soon as you meet you two, you're like done. You just need to get in front of more people.
I think you said that, mate, when we met you down. It's quite a kind of chance meeting, actually. It just shows you like I'm a great believer in that, mate. I think the universe lines up. Do you know what I mean? And it's quite well. We cover the backstory on that. How did you know about it? Have you covered that, the backstory about how we all met and stuff like that? Or
No,
it's probably quite decent.
It's weird, isn't it? Actually,
Yeah. So we were down doing a shoot down in a place called Hodge Close.
Is that what it's called? That place?
Hodge Close Quarry. Yeah. So really famous. Like Through Dark, I've filmed down there, and The Witcher was filmed down there as well. So massive quarry in the Lake District, like, but really, really dangerous, like 80 metres drop-ins for the quarry walls. And then I think the actual water's like 200 feet deep or something like that. There's like cave systems underneath the water and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's 200 feet deep. Yeah,
it's really deep.
And it's like ice cold. You'd be fucked on it.
What, if you went right down?
If you went right down, you're fucked. So like people always made a joke that there's probably bodies in there, but you wouldn't know.
You would know.
Fucking gonna know, like, so how fucking deep it is.
And like even when we were in there and we were shooting, like there's so many like they call it like underwater hazards. So like just things that you get your shoelace caught on and then you won't come back up again, like cars and fridges and all that. But everybody obviously swims there, right? So we had a look and we were like, oh, that's going to be amazing to like film in there. So yeah, like the team comes down, and I think before we'd met you the day before, we were filming on the cliffside. So we were doing like rope stuff on the cliffside. Then we stayed out that night and we filmed some overnight stuff with like flaming torches and like smoke in the caves and all that kind of stuff. It was really cool. And then the Sunday, we obviously got all the water kit because we're doing all the kind of water shots. I go down, then you and the Galilea are just down there like, you alright lads? You alright lads? And then, I think it was just like, we obviously like said, oh, what do you do?
I think it was Joe that come over and said, oh, do you mind if we get some shots? And I'm like,
yeah.
Because we've done that many times and asked people, like, no, like that. I'm just like, we're going to fucking do this. But
then the missus, she got involved in one of the shoots and that as well. Yeah, we're meant to have like someone come down, but it was just all kind of last minute. So I had a good lady filled in.
It was sick. I loved it. I loved it. But like you said, your universe just aligns with people. Like,
it does, mate. Yeah.
Honestly, I'm so proud to have you on, and it's like, just to spread your message and stuff. It's mint.
No, I really appreciate it.
I just love everything that you both provide. It's sick.
Yeah. No, I really appreciate it, mate. And I think that's true. The universe does. It lines up, mate. And I've seen it so many times, like in my life. You know what I mean? Even with like us two, like meeting, like.
This time last year, I didn't know him.
Crazy, isn't it?
No, that's true. I'm in the business.
No, you can't get rid of it.
But no, it's weird. Just crazy how life. But again, it's that whole PMA thing, that positive mental attitude kind of thing. Like you're gonna have this shit times, but you just have to smile it off. Like I've not always been the most positive person in my life, of course, but it's one thing I've learned, And also if like a plan doesn't go well, then don't just completely destroy the plan. Don't just start again, but just take a counter moment, look over it again, look where you can go. Exactly,
accept it for what it is.
100%.
Exactly, and look over it again. So that's kind of how I've kept solid ground going for so long. And now I've got obviously someone else involved. It's mega especially having a second person to look over what you're doing and have it like kind of guidance. Because before, obviously, you joined, I was like sending them stuff like, what do you think of this, your new cab coming out? And it was like, oh, that's shit. I'm like, oh, really? I was like, but like, nah, like, I don't think that's ever happened. But yeah, you mean you've that kind of thing, so it's mega.
I just, you know what I mean? It's like, from my point of view, a brand point of view, that logo stands for, why I wear it is, for integrity and authenticity and looking after people, and you know that you're safe when you're wearing it. That's what a brand means. And when I wear that logo, that's when I've got it on my head, that's why I wear it. It's
actually quite funny you mention that as well, Tim, because like when we were like coming together to like decide, do we keep the clothing side of things down solid ground, and then do we set off like a kind of like another branch of the business under a different name, and like we went back and forward like so many times, like sending each other like on like Creative Cloud, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Like, what do you think of this name? What do you think of that name? And then I remember Drew just phoned me up and he's like, do you know what, mate? I think we should just keep it solid ground. And like, I was like, and at first you're like, well, how do we merge that? The clothing and then the safety thing. But it's worked out really well because like the logo is like so recognisable. It's got such a cool name as well. Like you said, solid ground outdoors. So like it kind of conjures up that safety, looking after each other. Like everything's built solid, and like it's worked out really well, man. Like
you've done it perfect. It's just like it's just happened the way it's happened. And
that's weird.
If you were going to come to me and ask me for advice, I've done it exactly how you've done it.
Yeah, it's just strange though, because like I was, don't know I think it was like 23 or 24, whatever I started it. Back in 2018, I was like, why I picked Solid Ground Outdoors, the name, I don't know, but I did. And he used to always ask me, how did it come to my head? But it worked anyway. And then now, 4.5 years later, it's like, oh, that's why,
Mad, eh?
Weird how it worked out.
It's
Yeah.
mental. It's mental.
The thing is because it's come from here, Solid Ground Outdoors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why it's always worked. And a lot of people, they kind of, a lot of people think too much and don't feel enough. And I understand, like, obviously the mind is rational and you kind of like make a lot of logical decisions with your mind, but not enough people think with the heart.
Yeah.
With the heart sometimes. And I think that's what you've done with that.
Yeah.
And that's why it's worked, and that's why it's come to this, that it's always been about that.
Yeah.
Looking after people and heart and,
Yeah.
going through adversity.
I think we're bang on, mate. I think with it, like, just following your heart's a big thing, mate. Like, even for me, like my own kind of like personal kind of experience of that. As I said, like I came to a point in my career, probably not even that long ago, mate. Maybe like, as I said, 18 months ago, where like I was like, what am I going to do? Like, I've just kind of like lost a bit of love for this, and other wee bits and pieces happened at work, and I was like, what am I actually passionate about? And like, you watch all these like YouTube, like, self-help videos. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, all that kind of stuff. And it's like, it always talks about like going inside. Do you know what I mean? Like having a think about what it is you're actually passionate about. And for me, like, as I said about our kind of backstory, like the outdoors has always been like my passion. Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, how can I turn this into like a business? Yeah. And then, like as I said, weird, like, I don't know, the universe manifest, I don't know, like everything just lines up. Like me and Drew get in contact with each other. Like we meet you, we work with like Aslan, we build all these contacts with Osprey. Now he's using us for more projects that we're going out of the country to do it next month. Like,
amazing, that.
It's just mental, mate. It's spooky. Like we're talking about all of that stuff, like it's spooky.
I think there's too much emphasis on personal development, mate, right? Yeah. And I think you see books about personal development yourself, but there's not enough books about helping other people out. Yeah. Right? And I think if a lot more people focused on that, okay, your main thing is making people safe and other people safe. Yeah. By doing that, you actually help yourself and actually personally develop yourself.
Yeah, you're right, man.
Do you know what I mean? Right. You actually find your why by helping other people. Figure out how can I help other people out. But
what's weird about that as well, mate, is like more positive comes out of it. I've always found that, like more and more positive comes out of it. Like even us, like as a team, we're all helping each other out. Like the camera guys will help us out. We'll help them out. Like whether it be with like gear, advice, whatever it is they need, and then like all this cool positive stuff just keeps spinning out the back of it. If that makes sense, like. I mean, the guys could like pick up the phone, and we regularly do this, like pick up the phone at like 11, 12 o'clock at night, you're like sitting with your missus, and like, mate, what do you think about this? Like, I've just had this thought. Okay, mate, and then you have to spend like half an hour speaking to them and trying to like work through it, and we do that all the time. So yeah, I think it is, mate, like just constant positivity just leads more positivity, all from helping folk out, mate. I think that's it's a big.
I used to, whenever I was doing Solid Ground by myself, like I used to donate quite a bit of money to like National Trust kind of sites. Well, National Trust in Scotland, the Lake District Foundation,
Mountain Rescue.
Mountain Rescue. Yeah. I've done like a thing with them, and then the Peak District. I can't remember what it is. Peak District something. I don't know. Anyway, Peak District. And
some charity.
Yeah, some charity. I can't remember. I used to like I know a fairly substantial amount of money to them. A lot more than I probably could have afforded at the time, obviously for the business. But I did it anyway, because I always wanted to give back and stuff like that. And then obviously I had your whole Fisher Mountain was the quote, and obviously a lot of people resonated with a lot of people. But yeah, I mean it definitely helped me at times with it. But every time I felt like I gave out to other like. I donated money to these charities. I used to think, I could take this money for myself. I never did. And I gave it to the charity, and I was like, the business would boom for like 2 or 3 months. I'm like, well, there you go. Like, that's the thing. It was weird. I thought it was so strange. And now there's like a couple of bins in the Lake District with Solid Ground on the side of it. I've never seen them, but Well, I mean, I'm not no saint by no means, but yeah, I think whenever you do good actions, they're always rewarded for sure. I think that's probably more likely the case, but I know that's it really. When again, I've met some really good people in my life. I met some real arseholes as well, and I feel like the good people, regardless of anything, their positivity and everything that kind of shines through them. Like you'll never forget that. Like you really don't.
It kind of comes to the top, mate. It's like it kind of comes to the top. yeah, it's been mega. It has been mega.
Right, well, I'm going to wrap it up on that. I just want to thank you both for coming on. I really appreciate it. I'm going to be a fan for the rest of my life.
You got that new gear as well, mate.
Eh?
You've all that new gear as well.
You know, mate, that's it. I can't wait to open it up and just rock it. I wear my cap all the time.
Yeah.
When I'm out, mate.
But you've still been smashing.
It's nice because I kind of wear it for me. Do you know what I mean? Because I really do know what it about safety and looking after people when I put it on. It's it's sick.
Yeah.
Sick, everything you do, mate.
Appreciate it, mate. You've been smashing outdoors as well, mate, so you get a good little run out.
That fucking last ravine I did was so fucking good.
Is that right?
So good. I'll have to send you it like.
Yeah.
So good.
When you get you up to Scotland sometime, get maybe out in the winter or something like that.
1,000,000% up for that, mate. I've never been to Scotland and done the mountains in
have you not?
Scotland, so
Man.
I'm waiting for the right time. This could be the time, I think.
Yeah, definitely, mate.
You have an eye opener anyway.
Yeah, fucking see it in his eyes.
Get
right?
out some winter action.
He brought that melody.
Where'd that come from?
Definitely. In fact, whilst we're on, we better mention Vicky actually because it will.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, I hope you don't mind. So we're basically out the back of all the kind of safety stuff. We got into with one of the girls that done really well on SAS Who Dares Wins. So I think she was it Argentina that did the mountains?
Yeah.
Yeah, Vicky and her man, Mel Dean, so he's an ex-rugby professional. They're based down in London. He's like personal trainer to like the Stars kind of thing. So they've set up another business called Intrepid, and we're basically coming on board to do all the safety coverage for the Scottish portion of this business. So they're running them all over the place, one in Scotland, and then I believe they're going to Jordan, out to the Alps, all over. And yeah, just to kind of give that business a shout out. So we start Intrepid, yeah.
What are they on Instagram?
We are Intrepid.
Yeah, we are
Intrepid on Instagram, and so we are going out with them in November, last week in November. They've got 12 spaces. I think 3 or 4 of those spaces are already taken, but it's open to anyone. So just sign up, and you'll be able to spend basically the Thursday to the Sunday with us too, kind of putting you through your paces, but also Vicky and Mel as well, and we've got some cool stuff lined up, but we've kind of held back.
I mean, one thing. No, I won't say it on the podcast.
Yeah.
Right, we're gonna go. We'll leave it. I'll talk to you afterwards. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, thank you so much for listening, everybody. Goodbye.